Let's talk 4Runner radio upgrades and why I chose this one from Dasaita. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So, let's dive right in. So, why upgrade the radio in the first place? Well, the original one was garbage. So, it comes from about 2009, because that's when the original car came out, and they really hadn't updated it into 2020, I believe. Something really late. Toyota's always really late to the game when it comes to technology like that. But the original one is smaller than an iPhone screen. It doesn't have any features. The GPS takes 10 minutes to enter in whatever destination. It's just bad. It lags behind everything. And if you do not have patience like me, then it is the most atrocious thing you'll ever find in your life. So that's the reason why I was looking for a 4Runner radio upgrade. But when you look into that market, there's not really a lot of options out there that have really anything that looks like it comes from the factory itself. There's really only two options. This one from Amazon, that I cannot pronounce this name correctly again, Dasaita, I think that's it. And then the other one from Car Trim Home. Now, those radios are pretty much, again, the only two options that you have for having a factory-like setup. Otherwise, everything else in the market looks pretty bad in terms of just looking aftermarket-like, which is not what I wanted to go for, honestly. So there's giant screens that cover up the air ducts, or there's just the standard, I guess, 6-inch or whatever screen that you can slap in the middle that's doubled in. But then you have a lot of bezel on the side too, and it just looks cheap, it looks bad. And overall, it doesn't look good. Again, there's only really one or two options, and when I was reading online, I saw that the most logical thing that people were doing was choosing any one of the buyers from Amazon. So why Amazon? That entails you to actually be able to return the item if it's defective. You don't have to deal with third-party customer service that you probably have never heard of before in your life. Really, those are the reasons why I chose to buy from Amazon and getting the radio delivered from there as well. So why did I choose this one overall? I wanted something with Apple CarPlay integrated into the radio itself. I really don't care about any other features, honestly. I just wanted Apple CarPlay. It's a seamless experience. It has different apps already on your phone that you can connect to. Gaia GPS, which I'll talk to in a little bit about. The entire experience is just basically, I wanted Apple CarPlay, and that was pretty much it. A lot of people actually just buy new cars for the radio itself. So for this instance, the car is perfectly fine. I want it to run to 300,000 miles or whatever. It's a Toyota 4Runner, it will. But really, again, what I wanted was just to modernize it a little bit and get a little bit of a bigger screen if I could. So why the Dasaita brand? Again, don't know how to pronounce this, but in general, it had decent reviews, and I've seen a lot of other people on YouTube install theirs left and right, and it looked good from the experience that I've seen and everything else. So I had decent reviews, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to pick it up. It was simple. It was on Amazon Prime. And, I got it on sale, I think sometime in June or July. And yeah, it came and I installed it during a weekend. So that was great. Again, one of the main reasons why I chose to buy this particular model was the looks of it. It just looks factory. It looks like it came with the car. And actually, when I picked up my buddy, and he knows nothing about cars in general, the first thing he said when I picked him up was, "Oh, dude, this car has a huge radio." Nothing like, "Oh, it looks like you did an aftermarket job," or, "No, it looks cheap," or whatever. He actually thought it was included with the car, so that was a compliment to me. That's what I was trying to accomplish. And more props to the brand who actually developed the radio to look that way. Again, I didn't want anything that looked out of place or in general. So this was an amazing option that I thought, and honestly, it is exactly what I was looking for. So let's get into those 6 items that I was talking about. So in general, Apple CarPlay, right? So This has an Android OS in the background, and it basically has this app called Z-Link, which I think is an emulator for Apple CarPlay. Some critics out there with other devices like Alpine and the other brands, Pioneer, whatever, who make those stock radios with Apple CarPlay integrated into it. It's more or less the same thing because those companies also use their own OS and then layer Apple CarPlay on top of it as well. So in my opinion, it's no different. So if that's something of a criticism, I think it's more of a moot point. But in general, the entire system seems flawless. I've had zero issues with it whatsoever. And really, the Apple CarPlay part, again, if it quacks like a duck and looks like a duck, you know, it's a great radio. And I've used this on extended trips already to Yosemite National Park and a few other road trips that I've had that were pretty extended, and never had an issue with the radio at all, the connectivity. It's a really good product for just wanting the basic function of Apple CarPlay, and I highly recommend it. The next thing that's actually really nice, and I know there is a lot of criticisms for the 4Runner in general for this feature, is steering wheel controls. So on the original manufacturer radio, when you have the steering wheel controls, up is next and down is previous track. I don't know why they did it that way either, but that's how it was, and I know that was a really big pet peeve for a lot of different people for their 4Runner. So this fixes that, and you can use right track, left track for your steering wheel functions now in the right places. So again, I know that was a huge pet peeve for a lot of different people, and in general, this radio, I don't know, I guess it reprograms it. So works great. Mute button works great. Volume controls work great as well. So yeah, it resolves those issues, and definitely I know that resolves a lot of pet peeves for some people. So if you're looking to just fix that as an issue, then pick up this radio. It works out really well. Installing this radio, I'm not going to get too much in depth to the installation of this. I did it myself. It comes with a wire harness. It's just plug and play, removing the old radio out, putting the new one in. Super simple. There's so many other YouTube videos that cover this, so I'm not going to, but there's a lot of good reference videos out there for people who just don't know. And again, I'm not going to get into it. There's a lot of content out there already with it, but super simple. Took me about, honestly, 15 minutes to get everything wrapped up together, but it took an hour in total because I lost the screw because I'm an idiot. And that one took like 45 minutes to get the screw out of a little area that I had to run to AutoZone, get a magnet tool. It was very dramatic. It resulted in me being frustrated, but that's more on me. That says probably a lot about me. But in general, you will have most likely an easier time installing this radio than I did. It was great, works great. So a cool feature of this that I don't know if anyone ever highlighted, but it was actually that you can do the backup line guidance on this radio. So there's a setting within the Android function of the radio. If you go into the settings, it says like backup lines or something like that. And within that, you can actually now have the backup lines when you're backing up your car, not the static ones that Toyota has where it's just like that rectangle like that. This one actually rotates with the tires when you do it, and then the amount of rotation that you do on the steering wheel will affect that. So it's been pretty great. I haven't had any issues with it. It stays within the rectangle line of the 4Runner too. So that was a really big surprise, and it works really well. And that was actually one of the things I was most excited for, honestly. So fantastic feature. It works great, and that one was a huge surprise to me. So great job, Dasaita. Next thing, navigation. So when I was actually out in Yosemite, I used Gaia GPS, and like an idiot I forgot to download the map. So as soon as I was out there and I had no cell phone service, I just got a blank screen. So couldn't use Gaia out there, didn't download the map, so it was just nothing but a blank slate. I wasn't able to connect to anything, and so really to navigate, I clicked the default maps within the Dasaita maps. And it's some brand, I don't know, I guess it's some open source navigation software or something like that, but it worked. It was actually a really good option for just being out there. So I just needed something to help me navigate some of the back roads of Yosemite National Park. And this came in clutch. So I think it's just really a copy of Google Maps, just with a weird layout and a layer. Don't trust anything like on the edges, but the map works great. Like the information, it said I was going like 850 miles an hour when I was on the straight path and, you know, going through fish camp or whatever. But so don't trust that data. But the map itself I saw was accurate, and it had some of the country roads back there as well. So great job for the GPS part, the map part. Worked great. It's a great backup solution. Will it be my primary maps? No. But if you're stranded out there like I was and you're trying to find out where's a good campsite, those maps are in there. So again, very good feature, very good function, and I was glad that it was included with it. So worked out great. Really, the last feature, again, why I love this radio and why I chose it is the looks. This radio, again, is the closest thing that I found to something that would look stock in this car. Again, everything else looked super aftermarket-like, and I just didn't like the way that looked. I picked up this radio with the intent to not have anything like mounted on my dashboard. I know that there's a lot of aftermarket mounts that people use. They put their ham radio up there, GMRS, GoPros. They have like all of these things, like an iPad. It's like basically like an airplane, I guess, that some people like. I don't want that. I want minimal. I don't want Tesla minimal, but I just want something that has a screen that I can input all my data. I tried the iPad method. It was a mess. I had to keep charging my iPad. I had to get the GPS working on my iPad. It just wasn't great. So this resolves all those issues. I basically have, again, if you download those maps beforehand, Gaia GPS, you can throw it up from your phone to the actual screen, just like any other Apple CarPlay device, and it worked great. So in general, highly recommend it if you're looking for a very clean solution for updating your radio, and couldn't have been any happier with it. So those are all my favorite features and everything, and I would say most of those are pros, if not all of them are pros, to just updating that stock garbage radio. Cons to what this looks like is really longevity and reliability. So again, don't know too much about this company in general, but from what I've seen, people have it. They've had this radio for 3-4 years, no issues. Other people say some opposite. Other people just kind of complain about like being too slow, or I'm not sure if that's just user error or maybe over time it just gets worse, but I haven't had any issues with it. I think it's a solid radio so far. And again, in terms of like speed or reliability or anything like that, maybe there's a little bit of lag that people might notice. Again, I'm coming from the stock 2009 radio, and it just seems fine. I think most people are expecting it to be a perfect solution, but there is zero products out there that are perfect for anybody, right? So I think this comes to the table and brings 85% of what people are looking for. And then the 15%, you can decide if you just want an entirely different car. One thing that I did notice though, I will say that first of all, the screen that it comes with is amazing. It's crisp, the text looks really good. The one thing that I did notice though for it is at night, there's kind of a mirroring effect with white text on black background. So I'll try to record a little bit of this. I recorded these sections during the day, but you can see a little bit of mirroring effect. Does it bother me entirely? Not really. You know, again, I'm not expecting perfection, and that's probably just, you know, due to the layering of stuff. I will say that this screen looks scratched. It is not. I left the plastic cover on the radio just so everybody's aware, because I since I go off-roading and everything and dust gets in the car, I don't want to scratch the radio at all. So I left the plastic covering on there. So if you see streaks or like scratches or anything, don't think it's the radio itself. It's the plastic screen protector, simply because I don't want to ruin it. So how much is this? I picked this up from Amazon for $6.50 online. And I believe right now, actually, at the time that I'm recording this and maybe releasing it, they do coupons. So I think there's a $35 off coupon, getting it around closer to $600. I think that's a really fair price for this radio, considering other ones from Crutchfield or whatnot, for those bigger, after uglier ones, go from $799 all the way to like $1,200 or even more expensive at that point. I think this is a fantastic deal. I think it looks great. I think more people are going to be happier with it because, when push comes to shove, if this radio survives another 10 years and I sell the car, I think that the next buyer is probably just going to look at it and be like, wow, I didn't know that they had that as an option back then. Because it really does look that good. So what do you think? Do you like this one? Do you hate it? What did you choose for yours? What did you end up going with? Very curious about all of your responses. So drop a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.